So when you're on the putting green and you've got a short putt, a mid-length putt, and a long putt, does the strategy of each of those putt change? Well, I'm going to give you the answer to that today, and more importantly, I'm going to give you a simple concept that you can implement immediately on the golf course. Is going to save you some strokes. I'm PGA teaching professional Todd Kolb, Director of Instruction for US Golf TV, and anytime we're on the putting green, we know we can save some strokes. So I'm going to share with you 3 things today. We're going to talk about number 1, what is the main objective on a short putt? I know it's to make it. I know that's what you're thinking, of course. But what is the strategy to make that? Number 2, we're going to talk about a mid-length putt because the strategy does change a little bit. And number 3, we're going to talk about the long putt, or what we might call the lag putt. And what should you really be focused on there? So let's dive right into it. Now, on this putt right here, I've got a 5-footer, okay? And the key to making a 5-footer is, number 1, is the line. Now, I'm not too worried about distance. I think if you're watching this video, you've played enough golf to know that on a 5-footer, I'm hoping you can roll the ball the right distance. But the key is the line. So let me just go ahead and hit a putt. Now, I'm working right today. I've got my rimer set up here because I like the rimer from a ball position standpoint, a setup standpoint, and being perfectly square to my target line. If you've watched any of my other videos, we've got a lot of ton of stuff on that, how to set up and things like that. But on a short putt, you've got to be square. You've got to make sure that your lines are in place. So I've got my rimer right here. I've got it set perpendicular to my target line so I can get my feet the right distance. I've got the ball right in the center off the 0, and I'm creating a nice square line. So let me go ahead and just hit a putt here. You can see from down the line how nice and square I am. It's basically straight back, straight through. Okay, and it's in the hole. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, it's great, Todd, when you're practicing and you got something like the rimer, but what about when you're just playing around a golf by yourself? Well, any golf ball, I prefer a Titleist golf ball, but it's got, you know, their logo on it. It's got some wording on it. For example, this says Pro VX1, okay? It's actually got some arrows. So you can do the same thing on a short putt, is you can actually line this up. I'm just gonna go ahead and point the arrow right at the center of the cup. Now I'm assuming, of course, this is a straight putt. You know that already. But that creates that line, which is so important on these short putts, that you get your aim and you're nice and square. Okay, boom, 2 in a row, straight back, straight through, pretty simple. All right, so you've got the concept there. Now, what about as things change a little bit though? Now let's say I've got a mid-length putt. So this putt right here that I'm gonna hit next is about a 20-footer, okay? Of course I wanna make it, all right? Of course I wanna make it, right? But what's also important here is the speed. All right, so on the short putt, line was probably 90% of where my focus was, because I'm not too worried about distance. But as I work to a mid-length putt, 20-footer, now my mind is going more 50-50. I'm definitely reading it. I'm definitely aware of where I'm aiming, but I'm also 50% focused on the distance. So what might you do for that? Well, a couple things. Number 1, is when you make your practice motions. This is a golden tip. And if you've got any of your other suggestions that have worked well for you to help you with distance control, hey, put those in the comments. Because you know what? I know some of you out there know some things about putting that I don't know, and that's okay. And you might be able to help our fellow golfers. But the tip I want to give you today is when you make your practice motions, I want you to look at the hole. Okay, see how I'm doing that? Make 2 of them. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the ball in place. Look at the hole back, and then I'm going to go ahead and putt it. Ooh, right over the right edge. So you could see there that my speed was really good and my line was good. So that would be the second tip, or excuse me, the tip that I would give you on that mid-length putt. 50% focus and energy on distance control, 50% on making sure you're aimed correctly, all right? And then, to help feel that, look at the hole and make a couple practice motions. Now, let's talk about the long putt, what we might call the lag putt. And I gotta tell you this, hey, if you haven't already, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. Okay, I love hearing from you. And what do you want to hear us here at US Golf TV talk about? What topic would you like to see us discuss? Put those in the comments. I do my best to answer every single one of them. Now, long putt, lag putt, this is a 40-footer. I will say this, as an average golfer, an amateur golfer, if you could 2-putt this, every single time, you are definitely going to be ahead of your competition. Even a tour pro is hardly making any of these, all right? So what do you think the focus should be? Of course, the focus is going to be more on distance control, right? If I can get the ball to roll the right distance, I'm going to be good here. So 40-footer, so you're going to take the same concept here, and my energy and my focus is probably 80% on distance control. I'm reading it, I'm aware of where it's going to break, but 10% more on aim, okay? So here we go. I'm set up, I'm make my practice motions, I'm looking at the hole, okay, trying to get a feel for it. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit the putt. All right, now there's a great example of what we're learning here today. So that putt right there, I probably missed maybe 3 or 4 feet to the left in terms of aim, okay? But I had pretty good distance, so that was a great putt because my distance was pretty good. On a long putt like this, you're typically not gonna miss the aim by like 10 or 15 feet, all right? But you might miss it short 15 feet or hit it 20 feet by. So a lot of you might be thinking to yourself, well, the length of putt, does my setup change? Does the ball position change? Are my eyes in a different spot? The answer to that is no. The setup is always the same, whether I'm hitting a short putt, a mid, or a longer putt. Now the one thing that does change is the length of swing, okay? A longer putt, of course, requires a longer swing. Longer back, longer through. Shorter putt, shorter back, shorter through. But a good guideline for you is always to be around 50-50. So if you take it back 8 inches, you want it to go through about 8 inches. So those couple guidelines there can kind of help you guide in terms of how far the ball will travel. So when we're on the putting green, the focus, of course, is to make the putt. But on short putts, 80-90% on aim, mid-length putts more 50-50, aim and distance. On a long lag putt, you got to get dialed in with the distance control, the length of it, and you can do that by simply engaging the hole, making some practice motions, and if you do those things right there, you're going to save some strokes on the putting green.